Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards because Commander's number one. I am one of your hosts, Daniel. I'm joined with both Brian and Sherman. Sherman, how you doing?
Not bad. A good day so far. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We're gearing up for tomorrow. We're recording earlier than we normally do because tomorrow is Brian's birthday and we're streaming and having some drinks, so we're gonna get a little silly.
Yes, mighty silly.
Yeah. This will be out the day after, but there'll be lots of games on YouTube where you can see me take Brian's soul rings and all the things that he loves and cares about. Crush them.
I don't understand why.
Yeah. And Brian, how are you doing this week?
It's my birthday. What more can I say? No, this week's been good. I can't really complain. Work's been work, and my birthday's my birthday. I'm excited to get some games in, have a few drinks with my friends, and just have a good time with hopefully some community members.
Get a little silly. I get it.
Yeah.
We're recording kind of in the middle of the week, which is not often all of us. We all work such vastly different schedules. So
Sherman just works when he's awake.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as he's up, he's like, I should go into the office.
Yeah, Sherman's
like
always in.
Hour.
Your day, Slothy's like out working like daytime. I'm working always. I'm working even when I'm not awake.
And then there's me that tries to work as little as humanly possible.
You down my schedule for sure. I had a nice short week this week. I only worked 3 days and I worked 54 hours in them. Let's go.
Oh.
You're a madman.
Let's go. Yeah, that was a long week. The snow down here, we finally got the beginning taste of winter kind of thing. And it was, I
don't like it.
I drive for anyone who doesn't know and stuff, right? So other people really panic and stuff. But for me, it's not that bad. It's just, I just have to slow down. That's what you do when the weather's bad. But no one seems to get that message. And everyone wants to flip their cars and cause me to sit in traffic for hours.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Over 200 accidents after the first snowfall.
Right. It's people get a little silly out here. I understand in somewhere like a Texas when their temperature dropped down kind of thing. I understand that. That's not a normal. We do this every year. This is Canada. Everywhere here gets cold. At some point we should collectively get it.
Yeah. It's like we only have 2 seasons, winter and construction.
Yeah, right.
That's the joke everywhere.
It's there is a lot of, especially on the highways, just always construction.
Yeah, I really don't get it. In all honesty, I don't I feel like, wait a minute, are we a podcast about driving or a podcast about magic here?
Both.
I could go on about driving all day long.
Both. We're driving the magical conversation here, Brian.
It's very true.
Yeah. With it being Halloween, I don't know what day does this come out date wise. Date wise, this comes out like the
29th.
29th. Yeah. So basically, right in time for Halloween. We wanted to go back to. Slothy's not here because he's busy. Everyone say hi to Slothy. Anyways, now back to this. Yeah. The date wise, it's gonna be Halloween right after the release of this. So we wanted to talk about something we talked about years and years ago, right at the beginning, and that's just Scary Commanders. There's been so many new things that have come out, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some, maybe even not even specifically Scary Commanders, but just scary cards, things that are in the format, things that we're not liking seeing personally and stuff, right? Everyone's going to have their own play style, their own groups, is what it is. But yeah, let's, I wanted to start with it's one of the ones that I've just loved. It's Toxrill. Toxrill is a can't stay out commander. It's just for me, that's been the one. I haven't had any play group I've played it into enjoy it. Everyone is just like Toxrill. I filled basically the whole deck with mana rocks. It's because Toxrill, it's a draw engine in the command zone. When other creatures die, it's a costly commander, but if your whole deck like mine is just mana rocks, all you're doing is wiping the board every turn. Even the ability for anyone who doesn't know Toxrill is it puts a slime counter on things every end step, and then those things die, and it's not just yours, it's everyone's. So by the time it gets around, opponents things, and they get -1/-1 for each counter on them. But by the time
that's why they're dying.
Yeah, by the time it's back around, everything that's -4/-4 has died, and that's a vast amount of cards.
And that's the thing, it comes down to your play group. For us, our play groups, we generally stay away from combo decks. We're more synergistic. We're more bringing out creatures because we want our games to last longer than 5 turns.
Yeah.
So, and when you know, like anywhere from 20 to 30% of your deck is nothing but creatures, Toxicroak just hurts. So it's like you see it, you kill it right away.
Well, and a lot of decks are creature based because that's, you know, like your commander's a creature, so you generally build around a theme of whatever's going on, right? Like sometimes it's like treasure themed and there's those things, but a lot of them are like, I have an elf deck. Yeah.
I like to bonk people.
Yeah, right. So there's Toxicroak's just been one of the ones that I've always I love the card. I love the design. It's Doug and the Slug, right? It's such a silly card. It looks really cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's a really cool ability. But it's just every time I've seen it hit the board, it's just overperformed everywhere, from like a card inside of a deck versus just even the command zone. It just the creatures dying generates you tokens, so you've got lots of blockers for people trying to take revenge even once your commander's removed. You've got the draw engine, so you can sit there and you can play literally just counter spells and mana rocks and counter everything that's annoying, wipe the board of every creature. It's a really, really rough one to play against.
There's also that other, I think it's a blue card. I think it's like Muck something or
Sludge Monster.
Yeah, Sludge Monster that goes along with it well.
Yeah, because Toxicroak put down the sludge counters, and Sludge Monster basically says that they're like 1/1s with no abilities if they have a slime counter on it.
Which is rough.
Yeah.
And then, whenever something you don't control the slime counter and it dies, you create a 1/1 slug. And then it's also like it's a blue-black commander that has sack a slug, draw a card. So you can run everything that's good about this strategy without any worry, right? You can get your black market to have your insane amounts of mana. You can get any death triggers. You can get a grave pact. You know what I mean? Every time you kill my Toxicroak, okay, everyone sacrifice. It's just it's a pretty silly one, and it's every time I've seen it, it's gone a little too hard.
Phyrexian altar or anything like that, sacrifice them. Oh, you have to sacrifice a creature.
Well, you're in blue, right? And with everything that we've been getting, like Kamigawa gave us another one where there's no legend. There's like Jorn Irenicus's Vile Duplication where you get copies of it. Even Doctor Who had the thing where it's new. Like, make copies of things. Like that's a blue staple. So it's so easy to just like spark double Toxicroak and then everything's -2/-2 at each end step, which is, you know what I mean? Everything's -2/-2.
Gross.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. Like, the best way to balance it out, or what they should have done, is instead of making it every end step, just whenever your end step, like whoever controls Toxicroak during their end step, that would have been more fair.
Your end step would have made it a great card, but that's generally speaking, you get a chance to respond. You get to find an answer, and it's kind of like Angel of Destiny with the swing, right? It's the fact that it's the end step. You don't have a chance to untap and get it. If you're playing an elf deck, sure, you might have like a Song of the Dryads, turn this into a forest kind of thing, right? But you're going to lose almost every one of your elves by the time it gets to your turn, especially if you're the person who went right before me, right? Again, that's -3/-3 wipes the board of a lot of players. Like Sans an Angel deck or something, like, or Eldrazi.
And like that's the thing, like when it comes down to it, like that's how you know if your play group plays enough interaction. Because if someone plays Toxicroak and no one can deal with it for like 3 or 4 turns, and it's like it's game over. And if that happens every single time, like it happens once in a while, okay, I can understand that. Just, bad luck, right? Statistically speaking, that can happen. But if that happens every single time you go against someone that's playing Toxicroak in your play group, then your play group needs to play more interaction. You can't play Battle Cruiser Magic if you're going to play Toxicroak.
The problem though is like you might have a whole field of interaction, but by the time it gets to your turn, all your stuff is gone, right? Like I agree with you that had it been every one of my end steps, then Toxicroak would be much more balanced and probably not as oppressive to play.
Balance? We don't want that.
But like every part of the card, like sure, it's a 7 cost, and you can justify that its ability is very strong, but it's also a 7/7, which is an enormous commander.
Yep.
Like that's a big
creature,
big body to deal with, right? And like it's just got everything. It's got removal, token generation, draw, and a huge body all at 7 mana. You're not really disincentivized to run it. And again, it's a draw outlet in the command zone. So you can play like your Teferi's Ageless Insights. You can draw and get to that mana and rocks so fast in this deck. It just, Toxrill to me has been one of the ones that I find myself always wanting to play the deck. And I just find myself always having to put it back because, like you were saying, it's not what most people want when they're sitting down to play a game. A lot of people don't really want to not have creatures for the whole game.
Do you know what would be a fantastic altar for a Toxrill? Have one of those cable guys from South Park as like the body of the slug be like, you want creatures? Sorry, you can't have creatures.
I really want a Slurms Mackenzie one from Futurama. I think. I think that would be a fun one.
That would be good. That would be good.
And then I'm just doling out Slurm onto each creature.
Oh, Slurm.
My Slurm counters. Everyone thinks I've had a stroke in the chat. It's the end step. Everyone gets a Slurm. Are you doing okay, Daniel?
He's never been better.
Right. He's been something for a while.
So my boogeyman card is up there on this list. Every time I hear it, shiver goes down my back, and I flash back to like the Cold War era. Tergrid, God of Fright. Ever since your deck and just having it spontaneously appear in some games, I kill it. I'm not going to let it sit out there. It's got to go, and unfortunately, the players got to go.
Tergrid's brutal.
I guess before we jump into it, I should read it, right?
Yeah.
So Tergrid's 3 and 2 black, legendary creature god, 4/5, has the good old Menache. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Or you can turn it into Tergrid's Lantern, but that's not the important part.
The problem with Tergrid's Lantern as well is it's also an infinite combo sync on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tap it. Target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discarded card.
Yeah, so if you can generate like an infinite colored mana kind of loop, like we were talking kind of before we started with like a Basalt Monolith-esque kind of combo, right? It's going to be more than a 2-card combo. But again, anything that's going to generate your infinite mana and have black in it, like a lot of competitive decks can do, it's just, okay, I will infinitely say lose 3 life or sack or discard. So there's nothing you can do if you don't have something in it. And if I have infinite mana, you respond short of a Crossing Grip. And even with a Crossing Grip, I'm just holding priority and not passing that priority until I've put it on the stack 30 times with my untap.
It's stupid. Like, and that's the thing, like, colorless, like, I think the most popular colorless combo is, once again, Basalt Monolith with like Rings of Bright Earth or like you guys know it. Yeah,
anything that's like reducing like we said earlier, Zerda and stuff like that, right? Like anything that's going to reduce the cost of that untap ability or copy it. It's Tergrid that's another deck. It's one of the very few decks I've ever taken apart because again, it was phenomenally unfun. I tried to change it back into Tiny Bones, and people still didn't really like the tiniest of bones. And
people don't like to discard.
Yeah, right. It's the discard and mill have a salty place in people's heart. It's because they feel you're taking from them because you are.
Mill, I find people are kind of okay with from time to time, but like, because it's like, okay, like people get used to being like, okay, like there's a chance that I wouldn't have gotten that card in a game anyways. Like what if it was like the 10 from the bottom as opposed to like the very top? Then people kind of get over it. But when they have that card in their hand, they have to get rid of it, and they don't have enough card draw. So discard hurts a lot.
Discarding what you know over what might be, I think, is the tough decision.
My favorite thing to play in very, very many games, in a lot of decks that I play that are like a higher power or competitive, I run Winds of Change because to me there is nothing funnier than waiting to see everyone get the hands that they keep. Some people, they mull down to 5, you know what I mean? Everyone's got a hand that's playable. And then I turn 1 Winds of Change, and they lose it all. And you have to, it literally has, to me, to everyone else, it makes the most unfun play thing ever. I don't care if I have the best hand, if I have the hand of my dreams, I could be holding, like I could be playing limited and be holding a Black Lotus. And if for some reason I couldn't get that Black Lotus out hand, it's going to the garbage. Like in every situation that I can do that, I will do it because it's so funny. It's if you ever get a chance to do it to your play group and stuff, most people will only ever do it once because it literally will wreck your friends' nights. They won't forget about it. It's so brutal of a turn.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot. It's really, really mean to do, but it's just one of the funniest because you can do the same with if you have like a really, really good hand, you can get a it's not Winds of Change, Windfall. Get a Windfall off, like, you know, you play your hand out, make everyone discard, you still get 7 back. That's great. But no, it's Winds of Change. You simply just need a red and then the will to wreck the night. That's all you need.
Yeah, because like just the turn 1, you know, because like if someone can have a Soul Ring, someone could have like, you know, something like, you know, a Mox or whatever, let's say, who cares, right? But yeah, like 2 to 3 turns is like a long time in CED competitive, right? CEDH. Yeah.
Well, can you imagine, even just at a friendly table, you're like, you know what? I got my Soul Ring and I've got an amazing opener. I've got both the colors of land I need. I've got a Soul Ring. I got a Signet. Like, we're on track for a great game. And then it's gone. It's gone. You might draw 1 land in the next thing. And you're just sitting there like me the whole game. I'm like, and everyone else is just glaring at me. It's really rough.
The last time we were playing, there was like 2 puzzle boxes out. That's how I won with. That's how I won with my my monkey deck.
Oh, Kibo, yeah, that's mean.
So you had 2 Teferi's puzzle boxes out.
Yeah, I had one, someone else had one, so for every card that drew, I got the devil, and then I would sacrifice the devil to deal 1 damage.
That's funny.
That's horrible. Oh, my goodness. I would never let that stay on the board.
So funny.
Tergrid's another one that, even at its least annoying thing, is so annoying. Just you crack your fetch lands, our fetch lands. If you ever go back to that episode, I played the communist anthem a lot in that one, right? These are our cards. And it's rough.
That's changed how I talk about some of these cards. When I go to take something, I'm like, this is ours.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Share
right.
this.
I think I said that on the face-to-face one when I took your turn, because I asked for anyone who didn't see that game. There's just a really fun interaction where Brian's like, I'll do 1 damage to you. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, yeah. And then I play Mindslaver and take his turn. And then I keep saying...
those will be my next card.
Yeah, I keep saying our turn every time. And yeah, it just... I ended up not being able to kill Brian on our turn, but I killed everyone else, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, and then I murdered Daniel on the following turn. And he's like, we won. I was like, I won.
Our victory. But yeah, no, Tergrid just, like I said, even at its worst, even if you didn't have the discard and ability to discard, it's so brutal just with the sacrifice.
When someone has the bounce land and they already have 7 cards.
Yeah, just, again, like having to discard anything, like, it is rough. So I do think the discard is higher than mill in the annoyance.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. But it's just the fact that it's a combination of discard or sacrifice. So, like, if it was one or the other, it's not so bad, but it's just the fact that it's both.
Right. Do you have any that are on here, Sherman, that you wanted to mention?
The one I hate the most. I'm surprised that they did this, but like, we don't really see it around in our play groups too often, in all honesty, just because it's pretty strong and most people just shy away from it. Is Hinata Dawn Crown. So it's 1 blue, red, white for a 4/4 Kirin Spirit, Flying Trample. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target, and then spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. It's just really, really stupid because there's so many cards where it's just like by force, let's say in red, where it's X and a red, and you destroy X amount of artifacts. Well, now with 1 red, you can wipe out all of your opponent's artifacts. Throw in something like a Microsynthlatus in your deck, you're laughing.
Gross.
It's the cost reduction so crazy. Even like your March of Swirling Mists, where X target creatures fade out. Okay.
Yeah.
They all phase out. Now what?
Well, Curse of Swine.
Yeah.
You know, you exile all the creatures, and everyone gets 2/2s except for yourself.
Yeah. There's the cost reduction in that one. I also have that deck, and it's another one that I don't play too often. That one, for me, it still has a place sometimes, but again, not at a casual table.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like, you know, like I when it first came out, like what set did it come out again? In
Kamigawa.
Kamigawa, yeah. When it first came out, you would see people putting this deck together, and within probably 2 to 3 weeks, maybe like a month at most, no one had it put together anymore, or if they did, they just wouldn't play it because it's just not fun. So, like, and it's because like either everyone at the table just picks on you, or because you're so strong, you're just wiping you're board wiping for 1 or 2 mana every single time if you felt like it.
Okay. It's disgusting.
Yeah, so with that, like all 3 players pick on you, you know, so it's like arch enemy.
Right.
Or like you just dominate and no one can do keep anything on the board battlefield. So, and it's just one of those things where if I see someone pull that commander out, I just kind of like internal sigh and like, okay, you're my target. I don't care what anyone else does. You are literally my target, because I know for a fact if we let you go, you're just gonna wipe the board every single turn, you know, and that's game.
Yeah, so what's the point of really continuing? Yeah.
I one for me too is Drannith. I can't stand Drannith Magistrate. I truly believe it's just like very toxic to the format as a card.
It stops the main purpose of the decks, like playing your commander.
It comes down so early, and it's a global, like, you know what I mean? It stops everyone from doing it for opponents. It's pretty well statted as well at 1/3.
I think the new Boromir is a little bit better, as it still allows you to play your commander. It just stops the free type of spells.
But again, yeah, that one's not salty, right? But just the just that silly, like, you can't cast spells from anywhere other than your hand. Like, it's shutting down all your graveyard decks, like your Muldrotha, which has been consistently one of the more popular commanders for a very long time. But it just turns off access to commanders as early as turn 1 in some games.
Yeah, with the higher power stuff, yeah.
No, not even with the higher power stuff. If you just simply have like a Lotus Petal.
Oh, is it? I thought it was 3 CMC.
No, 2. It's a 1/3 at 2 mana that shuts down access to commanders, which is why I dislike it so much.
Yeah, 1 in a white.
Again, even maybe a double white, I could have seen it a little bit, but it's still pretty rough.
I'll be honest, I do run it. I didn't think it was that big of a problem.
Well, the thing is, it has to be removed. It's something that generally there's a lot of things that are annoying to some players, right? Like Smothering Tithe, for instance, right? It's kind of an annoying card, but everyone can get. You can choose to not pay into it. It's not affecting my ability to play. It's accelerating you and stuff, right? Yeah. The same with Ristic, with your draws and everything. But this is actively stopping 3 players from playing the game. Like you literally shut down the access to our main cards, which is like the strategy. Like they banned Hull Breacher, and I didn't think Hull Breacher was that big of a deal, right? Like
they banned Hull Breacher but kept Opposition Agent.
Yeah. Oh, Opposition Agent's my other one to talk about. I can't stand Opposition Agent. We'll move to that in a second. But like I said, just Drannith, I don't know. I've never enjoyed when it's out. It's something that has to be removed, and we all run certain amounts of removal in our deck, right? There's not, if I'm playing white and I've got a swords, that's just one less threat that I can later swords because of how annoying it is. And having to blow a swords on something like a Drannith Magistrate instead of an Ulamog or something crazy.
It's not even just that. It's just that it shuts down the fact that, like we're saying, it shuts down the fact that you can't cast your commander, but it also shuts down things like, you know, like let's say you use the Jeskai Will, right? Those cards go in exile. You can't cast from exile because you can only cast cards from your hand. You can't cast things with flashback.
Prosper's so popular that like every time you cast from exile stuff, the same with Faldorn, the Wolf deck from Baldur's Gate, like those are really the Red Impulse stuff is the Red Impulse stuff has gotten so much more support lately of that, like you said, the exile the top 2 cards, you can play them this turn, and then I just can't.
And I think that's why I've put in those cards is because I play Boromir and I play the Draenith, but in I believe separate decks. Because I've seen so many times the play for free, because Dustin, all of his blue decks have Omniscience. Then there's a couple other people that play the combo decks. The free spell, there's been more free spells that have come back out reprinted and stuff like that. So but that's why I kind of run them, but I could see the Boromir being a better pick in the long run over the Draenith because it only shuts down the free if no mana was spent to cast a spell. Stop it.
Well, it's almost like playing like Gaddock Teeg.
Yeah, Gaddock Teeg's annoying, really annoying. Yeah,
like anything like that, or Void Widower, right? Like anything that just says you cannot play certain cards because I say so is really, really annoying. Like even Vorinclex is like, okay, I can't put counters on. All right, fine, I can work around that still, right? But it's like Gaddock Teeg. All right, what board wipes are less than 4 CMC? Okay, Slaughter the Strong. I don't know. Bloody hell, right? Am I even in white?
Yeah, it's just like I said, I'm not a fan of that card. I'm really not a fan of just to quickly touch on them. I don't like the free spells from the commander stuff.
I say take your turn.
Yeah.
Huh?
Take your turn. Joking.
I don't even know what you mean by that because I'm thinking about how salty they all make me. I don't.
Like I got some cards that I want to bring up.
Deflecting swat,
I see what you're saying,
stuff like that, right?
You're saying take a
maneuver.
Brian say take a turn on my list of salt. Brian, I got a lot of decks. I got a lot of things I dislike. So many things.
I understand.
Yeah, I'll pass my turn in a moment. I'll pass. I'm slow playing, but I just really don't. Every one of them. The deflecting swat is I think the least annoying one, but the white one, the everything's indestructible. The free fog, the free exile, the free counterspell. I can't stand them. They, in my opinion, have no place in like casual games, and they entirely wreck how you threat assess things. And they just reprinted them again. It's great for players getting into it and wanting to get things, but there's nothing worse than feeling like you've properly assessed the board. You've seen, okay, the only one who could counter me is maybe Sherman. Sherman's tapped out. I'm gonna go for the board wipe. That's what I need. That's my path to victory. And then it's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no?
Yeah, like, nope. I have an answer. Here's my answer.
Some of these cards.
Here's a Force of Will. Here's like, a misdirect.
For so long, Force of Will was regarded as like that was a power card. That was something that was big boy magic. And then
that was expensive.
Yeah.
And then they came out with Force of Negation first, I think. Yeah. And then Fierce Guardianship.
Because Fierce Guardianship was Ikoria.
Yeah, and
those were $30 a pop.
The pacts. So really quick, the pacts I don't mind as much because there's a consequence to it. You can pact my spell, but you may die if you don't have the mana to deal with it, or it may wreck your whole next turn. You may be a whole turn behind. And if Fierce Guardianship was skip your next turn, counter target non-creature spell, I'd have no problem with it.
Yep, downside.
But it's not. It's just here you go. If you control your commander, the whole point of the format we play. If you have it, all right, fair.
Yeah,
I see no problem with this.
It's so strong. It's kind of crazy. So, but like and that's the thing. Like we try to assess. Like we always argue when people are like, you're targeting the wrong thing. Learn to threat assess. But like Daniel said, if it appears that the shields are down. Okay. Next thing you know, you're just trying to think like, okay, like does he have a counter spell? Like, is he in blue? Like what's going on? If he's in red, will he have the deflecting swat? Do I bait it out? Stuff like that, right? So you have to do a lot of planning. Like the only other thing I can think of is if you use that as a political like tactic where you're like, okay, guys, I need someone to bait out the fierce guardianship because I'm more than certain he has it. So like I'm gonna do this, but someone else has to promise to do it or whatever, or I need someone to try to do this, or in order for me to cast this so that it works, right? So it's sort of like the assist mechanic, like help me out, help you.
Mm-hmm. You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah, like huddle up time.
All right, Brian, I passed my turn. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. My next big boogeyman that scare me for Halloween are probably the Titans.
Oh, you hate the Titans, the Eldrazi, yeah.
I don't even think it's the big boogie mechanic, I guess, it's Annihilator. I absolutely cannot stand the Annihilator mechanic. That I get so scared when I see that hit the ground because there's no great feeling of I just have to attack you and your stuff goes by.
Right.
I have no response to get it to get past anything, right? Like I'll sacrifice my own stuff.
And like even like if it's Annihilator 1, even 2 is kind of like still scary, but because nobody wants to sacrifice that much. But once you get higher than that, it's really, really harsh. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. And like with
it's just such a feel bad moment. And like the real big bad ones that everybody loves to cheat out for free, and sometimes you have just no idea because they're just randomly spliced into decks here and there, and then all of a sudden Ulamog, and you're like, what?
Yeah, like here's a 12 coming at your face. Oh, by the way, Annihilator 4 at the same time. It's like, okay, well, like even when it comes back to my turn, I can't do anything about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think those were like story wise, they're fantastic. Playing wise, like playing Commander, like I hate them. I hate them so much.
In all honesty, I think it should have been on attack, on damage.
That would make more sense.
That would make more sense. That would make way more sense.
Yeah, because then it enforces you to actually do the block.
That's so true.
If you if you get hit with the Annihilator, then your permanents get annihilated.
Yeah, like you have to make the choice of like, okay, do you want it or throw your creature away?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Like like you're most of the time, like the worst part is when you see someone getting attacked and they're starting to sacrifice land. It's like now you're really not going to recover from that.
That's my go-to. Make them feel terrible.
It's never worked on me a single time.
Pardon?
Said it's never worked on me a single time.
No, it hasn't.
You have no fear. That's fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. Me, on the other hand, like mine's a lot simpler because like you see it constantly, and you're like I'm always iffy on what they're gonna do with it, and it's your dockside extortionist. Like it is so brutal because like sure, like the person can get a lot of treasures and ramp out and everything, but a lot of people that actually put in dockside extortionists are putting it in there where they can like bring it back, they can go infinite with it.
Brutal.
Yeah, like they're sacking the treasures for to like deal damage. With
I think that was actually in the last episode that we put up, or the last live gameplay, the Lucia Kane deck,
maybe
where he was bringing back the dockside and then getting all the treasures. I'm pretty sure that happened in that game.
Dockside's just it's the same thing as a lot of cards that we've already mentioned. It significantly outperforms every time it's played. The Dockside never really misses because you're not going to play it unless you're going to get something, right? No one's playing Dockside to get 1 treasure.
I did it once to get 5.
But again, that's still 5 for 2 is great. That's a very powerful card.
That's a 3 payoff, but I felt like I was cheated.
Well, it's not even a 3 payoff. It's a 1/2 body and 5 mana.
I guess so. Yeah. I count out the creature prospect because I think the treasures are more important.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You still, at the worst, you get your 1/2 blocker for free. Like if there was a card that was just make a 1/2 blocker, add 5 mana for 2 mana, you'd play it in every deck, right? Like it just
yeah.
I find it outperforming a lot.
Like the worst someone would do with the Dockside is you would literally cast it and no one has artifacts, which is very, very, very rare. It does happen, but it's very rare because you just need a body to block, right? But even if there's someone that has 2 artifacts, or 2 of your opponents each have 1 artifact, now you're just breaking even. You're just like basically casting a Dockside for free. And anything other than that is just a bonus, in my opinion.
Yeah, just stronger.
Yeah.
A 1/2 is run in a lot of decks. That's great stats for 2 mana. Like
so, and just the fact that it can combo off and go infinite with so many different cards, is really stupid. Like you know, it's almost like Brian. We were talking about this yesterday about like decks that I'm building, and I'm just like, I need to take apart this one deck because there's too many infinite combos when I actually go through it, and I have to take it apart because, you know, like I don't notice these things. I just like, okay, I want this card, I want this card, I want this card. I just start throwing together, and then I start cutting the cards. And it's like, oh crap, I have like something stupid like 20 different infinite combos.
Well, and a lot of time you might not even realize you're putting them in, right? They function that way.
It's just like, Daniel. Oh, if I have this would be awesome. And then like, you know, like I forget, like, so the combo would be like, I had like the Dockside in there along with Ashnod's Altar, which is also another combo piece. I just like threw it in there just, you know, just to take up keep my idea going at the same time, or else I'm going to forget. And I had a Nim Death Mantle.
Yeah.
So, you know, like as long as there's like 4 artifacts out there for your opponents, you can like basically like net mana constantly, or like you sacrifice, like you just need 2 actually, because Dockside would produce 2 treasures. You sack it to Ashnod's Altar, that produces another 2, and that's 4 mana for the Nim Death Mantle to bring back the Dockside. So you just rinse and repeat. If you have a Blood Artist, you're winning.
Yep.
It's just stupid.
Yep. Well, okay. The infinite sack and reanimate is the win con in so many decks, right? And Brian, I don't play very many like infinites, by the way.
I have to take out now.
Pardon?
I was saying
3 cards I have to take out now.
I was saying I don't really play many infinite combos. That's not really how
same.
I play.
I don't try to go for it either.
I play mostly infinite annoyance. I trap people in like an endless nightmare of me doing the same thing over and over and over.
And that's the thing, like, you know, if you play infinite combos, fine, kudos to you. You know, do what you want to do. I'm not gonna yuck someone's yum, you know. So, like, you do you, but like sometimes, you know, you throw you throw a deck together. It's like, oh crap, this goes infinite, you know, and it's like, okay, let's take it out. Oh crap, this one goes infinite now. Okay,
usually
let's take
I don't
out.
even notice it. Usually it's other people that notice the combo, and I'm just like, oh, interesting.
There's not a wrong way to play Magic. Like, short of casting Cyclonic Rift, there is no wrong way to play Magic, right?
You're welcome. I removed all my Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, it's not.
I still have mine.
It's not bullying if it's Cyclonic Rift, but like what I was gonna say and stuff. It's just it's annoying if it's not what the play group wants, right? And that's always been like a big overarching theme of this, because it's not really a competitive format. We were like it's not standard. You're not just trying to win no matter what happens. These are still your buddies that you want to interact with, maybe have a drink with, right?
And that's the thing. Like, once again, like we're not saying that you shouldn't play infinite combos. If you want to, go ahead. You know, it comes down to like it does come down to your play group. You know, it's just for us, we don't, because we want to go past 5 turns. We want to have those interactions. We want to play stupid cards.
Yeah, this list is not something we like prepared out in advance and we're like, hey, this is everyone who plays this is bad. It's just us off the top of our heads being like,
shame on you.
Yeah,
we literally decided like 30 minutes ago kind of deal. It's like, hey, you want to get together and do an episode? Yeah, okay, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, have a Saturday to ourselves.
The cards that have been mentioned already, I play.
Yeah, I know, Brian, you're a problem. Let's not point let's not point fingers. It's not productive. You're a problem. You're a real problem.
That's why chat always says Brian needs to die.
Yeah, right. The like my next one, obviously, I've talked about it. I've sat here patiently. It's Opposition Agent. I can't stand it. It again, it's so annoying. If it was functioning as it was intended to just stop like tutoring for a win con, sure. But that's never how I see it played. Every time I see it played, it's in response to something annoying like all evolving wilds. And they're like, yeah, right. I don't think so. Op Agent. I'm holding a hand. I've got 2 mana. I've drawn a 3rd, and I'm like, you know what? Now this Cultivate's really going to come through. Fix my deck, fix my mana problems, and we're good to go. I cultivate, and they're like, no, not today. Not today, you won't. I'll cultivate.
So annoying.
Yeah, I just can't stand Op Agent. Again, a 3-2 flash that like turns out. Again, the stopping tutors. It's a Aven Mind Sensor is annoying. It's a little funny, but it's annoying. You're not as stopping it. But you're also taking what I was going for, and it's always lands. I never see it for anything but lands. I don't think I've ever seen it played in any situation but for lands. Like
I held it for an entire game waiting for someone to actually search for something decent. And then the only thing that someone searched for was a land, like late game. So it's like, I guess, to get this out of my hand.
Like if you're like responding to like a demonic tutor, a grim tutor, mystical tutor, blah, 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 right? Sure. I understand, but it's never that. It's never that. It's like Farseek, and it's like far, far from happening. It's can't stand Op Agent. That's all I had to say on that one. I'll pass again, Brian, to something else salty. I hate that card.
Sounds good. Another one that I absolutely can't stand. It's an expensive one, not expensive money wise, but CMC wise. I'm gonna read the ability, and you guys tell me if you know the name of this card. Okay. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, this creature deals damage equal to the spell's mana value to any target.
Ooh, Merciless.
Karavik the Merciless?
The Merciless.
Yep.
That is an annoying
5 red black.
Yep, you're right. And it's a 5/4.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't like it. It hurts.
I love that card, but at the same time, I totally understand where you're coming from, because it makes it so that people don't want to cast their big spells, right? So you're in a way, you're kind of forcing people to not play the big spells. They're going to be playing the smaller ones and whatnot. But yeah, like I find that people don't play it as the commander; they play it in the 99.
Yeah,
and they just find a way to bring it back. They just reanimate it or something. So, and that's just brutal.
Yeah, Karavik he's merciless, like in his name. It just sucks. I know that I've killed myself more than once with them.
I don't see that one too much. Oh, I got more now that I'm thinking. You don't play
against Jesse?
I put my thinking cap back on. I got more now. Sherman, you go ahead, please.
The one that I really hate seeing, like, I love this card. I like when it came out, I built a deck. I love it, and now it's been so long that like when I see other people play it, I hate it because I've taken mine apart, and it's just because it does the same thing again and again and again. It's Calamax, the Stormshire.
Oh,
you mean kill the pilot?
Yeah, you have, because like, so it's a 1 green blue red for an elemental dinosaur is a 4/4. Okay, whenever you, and it was like the face commander of the Ikoria commanders, or one of them, right? So it's like whenever you cast your first instant spell each turn, if Calamax the Stormshire is tapped, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Whenever you copy an instant spell, put a 1/1 counter on Calamax. Every single deck I've run into since then literally does the same thing. There's no variance. It's boring, and it's annoying to deal with because it's not just Calamax where you're just doubling it. The people just have to. They tend to have like 1 or 2 other pieces out on the battlefield that copies the spell that you're casting. So you're not dealing with one deck, copy. Yeah. You're dealing with 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a storm deck with green.
Yeah.
At Calamax, I hated playing my Calamax deck because it just wasn't fun. It was the same thing. It was like, I'll take 6 turns, I guess, and then I didn't do anything in those 6 turns except cast like draw spells that I would copy and then be like, I pass, I guess.
And then draw yourself out.
Yeah, like it's just the Calamax on its face, it sounds like it's really good. But like you said, there was no variance in that deck.
Yeah, like I tried building one after, like, or rebuilding it to be different. So it's like it's more combat centric, where I'm attacking and I'll cast a giant growth just cause, right? So now it's like a 6/6. But even then, it's like, okay, you find that you only change up like maybe like 10 or 12 cards.
Yeah.
Everything else is still the same.
Well, part of the thing that, like you were saying too, that the problem with the command, that 1/1 counter ability when you cast those instants, right? Like where that's a great ability. Like that was a cool. It gets so big. The commander, you just always forget it because it's such a side ability compared to the like storm off, and yeah, like it could be such a cool combat based commander, and it's not.
Oh, boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, no, I don't know why my ones that I would, this is a combo because it's 2 cards together and they're played in conjunction every time. I believe that they both individually don't really have a place in Commander. They're both obnoxious cards, and they've made the competitive format entirely stale, and that's Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation.
Man,
they're Demonic Consultation, especially now that it's starting to creep into not competitive games, but like higher, like, oh, this is a 7 or an 8, whatever. Yeah, I'm like, you're still like comboing with like your I cast Oracle, and then I exile with the trigger on the stack, and short of holding a stifle, you lose. Okay, cool.
That happened at the Calgary event, I think.
It happens everywhere. In the Calgary one, we were playing like some higher power, which again, it's not as bad there, but it's stale. It's stale. It's the win con in like every competitive thing. It's just like I'll just like tutor to an Oracle or Consultation and win. Like it's just the way that Demonic Consultation is supposed to be played is the way I play it in my Prosh deck. In my Prosh deck, use it as a tutor to try and find food chain. And I'm willing to risk it all to find that food chain because it's fun. I like to name food chain. I exile my top, I think it's 6 cards. Is that what Demonic is?
Yeah, it was 6.
And then you roll till you get your card. That's really fun to just all or nothing be like, if it's in that top 6, I lose. My whole library's gone. It is what it is. But it's using it in conjunction with like enters the battlefield already trigger. I just find so boring, right? Like if you want to play it as just, like I said, an all or nothing tutor, that's really, really fun. But I don't know, just the 3 mana, I win the game. Just I don't know. It's boring. It's so stale and boring. Yeah. Thassa's Oracle again is kind of a boring win condition, like because it's the trigger on the stack. That's the problem. It's not a Lab Maniac. It's not a Lab Jace. Your removal doesn't matter. Go ahead, kill it. It's fine. I cast it. It's hit the battlefield. I still win. Swords it, exit. You know what I mean? Short of like. Games shouldn't have to rely on like, you must counter this or I'm going to immediately win. I don't like that.
Yeah.
So again, maybe if it's a huge, like, you Torment of Hailfire me for 30, sure, you deserve that. But again, you Consultation Thassa's Oracle me at 3 mana on turn 2, and I'm like, all right, cool, you got me, man.
Yeah.
You did it, buddy.
We're gonna shuffle back up here again.
Yeah, let me deal it again and watch you try and mulligan to it.
Right? You know, so it's like, what's the point? Like, you know, prestige and just go again. You know, like.
Yeah, well, and that's like I said, right? Then it's turned the entirety of the competitive format into, again, I'm just gonna shuffle up and try and mulligan for that or tutors to that. That's like pretty much all you see. It's so boring. Literally, I've played like a lot of competitive stuff, and a lot of times I play annoying like remove cards from people's deck things, and I'll just name Consultation, remove it from their deck, and then they're like, scoop, and I'm like, that's it? That's your whole game plan? Was just that you were good.
That.
Yeah, well, everyone holds up like the way that they counterspell a lot in like more competitive play is they try and like save their counters to protect their win con. So until they're doing their win con, they're not really setting up. They're trying to counter something that you have as a win con, but no one sees like those cards as threats. That's why I get away with such silly stuff like the mill top cards thing.
Oh yeah.
Because no one pays attention to that, because everything is centered around the same like 10 or 11 deck lists. And I know everyone who plays competitive is going to rage in the comments and be like, it's not that. It's a stale meta. It is what it is. It's a stale meta where everyone does the same thing. They're all the same lists. Everyone, like, literally, if you look at most competitive pods, they're card for card lists of things with primers. And you can say, yeah, it's the most efficient. It's boring. It's boring. Thassa's Oracle has made the game boring in like the highest tiers of it. And it's not welcome in low tiers. It's not a fun card to like lose to.
No.
I self-mill Thassa's Oracle. Great job, man. You really did it. We're trying to have your 2 mana card got me. I don't know. I could rant about those two for a while.
No, that's like I agree with you 100%. Like it's just boring, right? You know, like if you're playing like, you know, like you're saying like it's in competitive, fine, it's in competitive, but I feel it has no place in casual.
Yeah.
So it's like playing all as one with the Red Terror.
Yep. Right. Well, exactly. So, yeah. We were saying even before we started this, cards that enable like a 2 combo thing, I generally don't like, and especially if that's in the command zone.
Yeah.
Right. Like thankfully this isn't sitting in the command zone, but it's still just I just find it there's not a downside to putting it in the decks, right? It's such an easy combo to get off that why wouldn't you? All you need to draw into one and tutor the other.
Oof. Unless you're playing against a discard or a mill deck, you're probably gonna get it.
Again, even in self mill, like it's not a fun way to lose the game. There's fun ways to lose the game. I don't mind dying to even infect. I'm all right with it. You got your stuff out. You won. You got me. Commander damage. I'm cool with combat damage. Again, even if you mill me, right? Milling the whole table is a difficult thing to do. Good on you.
Yeah.
But just I have such a big problem with generally like I win cards. There's like the new we'll be going over spoilers and stuff. I posted it on the Instagram today though, like the new like omen clock thing where if you have if you get 1,000 counters on it, everyone loses 1,000 life and you sacrifice it. Again, that's kind of funny. That's a lot of counters to get. Like it's got a doubling effect. You've got a lot of turns to remove it, but this isn't that. It's not. There's no clock on it. There's no like a lab maniac, right? You can see it coming. It's okay. He's got no hand, like no deck. He's trying to draw. I'll remove the lab, but it's a trigger. It's on the stack. Who's running Stifle? When's the last time you saw a Stifle in a casual game?
I have it in my binder. I just don't know where to put it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, because you play more casual games. It would be very annoying to stifle in casual.
Yeah,
Solemn Simulacrum.
Yeah. If you stifle something that, like, you know, if like Slothy goes for like a fetch land in his slivers and you stifle that's hilarious.
Stifling fetch lands is hilarious. You're not wrong.
But like other than that, like Daniel says, you don't see it in casual normally because no one really cares. Because in casual, you expect everyone to like build up and have fun, like, you know, to last at 4 or 5 turns, you know, get into small attacks and everything. And after that, after turn 5, you start making friends and making enemies.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing where the pieces lie. You're building the. I think that it has to be a political game for it to be fun, right? It's not just 4 people.
Not Commander, unless there's politics.
Yeah, 4 people trying to play like it's. If we were just playing on like spell table and signaling like thumbs up, thumbs down for does it resolve, and there was no communication, that'd be a dull format. It'd be a dull way to play, right? I'm trying to a lot of times play games with my buddies. I want to laugh. I want to have a good time. And to be honest, looking at most of these cards, I think that's the biggest problem with all of them is all of them are kind of against that, right? Like your docksides, it's power accelerating you along ahead of the table and stuff like that, right? Toxrill it's giving you such an advantage. All those, like a lot of what we've talked about, I think it just they go against more of the casual format of what people want in a game in general. Maybe I see things differently, but I play a lot of Magic. I play a lot of online. We do events, we do local game store stuff. Like we do a lot of Magic. And it's generally not welcome, right? There's a reason that these cards consistently appear on like the salt list on EDH Rec. There. If you look on Reddit 3 times a day, there's like I had a bad interaction because somebody like infinite comboed off and lied about power levels. And a lot of times that lying is like cards that don't really belong in casual.
Yeah.
Like an opposition agent.
Brian.
What are you talking about?
Or a Cyclonic Rift. Please take it out of the format.
You gotta argue with Sherman there now.
If I win the lottery, I don't care the price. I win a $50 million lottery. I'm buying every Cyclonic Rift and I'm burning them. I'm burning them all. It's gonna be just like a total annihilation of the card. It's gonna like go down to Alpha Black Lotus rarity where like there's only a few intact ones in the world. It'll be like the One Ring, Cyclonic Rifts, and then Black Lotus in rarity if I ever win the lottery.
See, I only use Cyclonic Rift if I'm going for a mill strategy. That's the only the only reason why I'll use Cyclonic Rift now is for a mill strategy, because I'll play with things like Folio of Fancies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like the more,
that's
the more
that's a
you
funny
have in
way
your
to get it
hand.
into hand. Yeah, that's hilarious.
So my strategy is fine. Like, it's not like someone, like, if I'm casting Expropriate, and I just can't win after that. There's a difference.
I do that a lot.
I'm not stalling the game. I'm milling people out when I do the Cyclonic Rift.
I feel bad when I take too long.
A Psych Rift with a point, I don't mind. You're ending the game. Okay, it's just I see so many defensive Psych Rifts of like, I did not build well, and now we will all suffer because of it. I've seen so many people like Psych Rift, and they have like a creature, 7 mana, and like 2 of that mana's on a mana rock, and they're doing nothing. They're having a horrible game, and they're like, everyone's having it with me now. What's up? Try to figure it out.
Yeah.
People,
like, you should just, if that's gonna happen, like, which it does from time to time, you should just sandbag it. Don't prolong it. Just, either shuffle up again and try to play it again, or play a different deck.
Yeah,
just,
very
don't
true.
stall the game for another like 6 turns just because you had nothing and someone was gonna win. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I do want to know like everyone's like idea of like what they find salty. Like there's been, I'm sure there's no shortage of feeling there's too many cards to keep up with. Like I don't have 3 hours to go through like I think 4,000 cards printed this year and find out what makes me like Everybody Lives. I don't like that card. It's very strong. It's very power crept, right? Like there's a lot. This is a not exhaustive list. This is just things I see.
Did you see the tap a Merfolk, get a Merfolk?
I sure did.
Brian and I were talking about that. It's just so stupid.
I was just like, okay, they're Kamena. Like,
oh yeah,
I tap my Merfolks to do things. I get more Merfolks. I tap those Merfolks to do things. I get more Merfolks. Like,
yeah,
get out of here with the power.
More like go burr, folks. Yeah, it's pretty silly, right?
I think I think in the end it's just certain cards that will go infinite with a number of other cards in different combinations is what's scariest overall and what makes certain things salty. So like once again, like Ashnod's Altar, we know when that comes out.
There's
people are going
to
sacrifice things. It's most likely part of a combo. Displacer Kitten. I love Displacer Kitten. Don't get me wrong. I have one.
I've Displacer Kitten open on my window to talk about because I hate it so much. I know we were running low on time, but that's another. It's got to die. I've never seen it just played for like a fun, like I'm just trying to have a little blinky blink. No, it's always for like a combo.
And I think that's the thing. Like in the end, like the things that we hate either are like things that work in like 2-card combos or just literally lock people out of the game.
Yeah,
sort of like Shieldred back in the day.
Tabernacle.
Well, yeah. My honorable mention of the day is New Shieldred. New Shieldred is really, really rough. It's just not. It's not fun because it's so annoying. It's just like 2 life every time you draw. So annoying. It's not overpowering. It's pretty low life, but it's life gain for you, and it's just passive annoying life loss. It's not so much scary. This is PG-13 scary to me, but I just find it so annoying.
Or what? Brian's favorite Jitaxis.
Yeah,
it's in my group hug deck.
Yeah, Brian. I don't know what.
I needed a win con.
That wasn't the win con. You weren't winning with it. You just made everyone angry. You just died.
It's like, you guys don't have a.
The one game that I was able to surprise everybody with it until everyone found out that Jitaxis was in the deck. I won that game.
That's fair, I guess.
It's fantastic.
There's some things that you end up playing, like Mother of Machines is a good example. It should be pretty obvious on its face. It's really going to stop a lot, but until you play a Mother of Machines deck, you don't realize how much it's going to stop. Like Brian, you had Mother of Machines. Like, is it not shocking how many things it cuts out? Cuts a lot of nonsense out.
Love it. It's so much fun.
It's a pretty rough card. I've played that deck a few times. Like the Junji Ito art went crazy, so I had to get it, had to have it. And you don't realize how many like Enter the Battlefield. We think of Enter the Battlefield a lot of time as like your dock sides, right? Your good effects, but there's a lot of just like passive landfall, when this enters, do that. Like just it cuts all that out, shuts it all down. That's one that I think could be up there on the scariest. Brian calls it the Wednesday dance every time.
Yep.
But it's
doing the Wednesday dance. I had to get the art too.
Like it's it stops stuff. What are you saying, Sherman?
I'll say Brian, even though like that deck is scary, I don't know about like who else like plays it and how scary theirs are. But when Brian plays it, though, I will give him props for this. He asks the table what everyone's playing first before he decides whether to bring it out or not. Because if he knows, let's say someone at the table is playing Brago, then he won't bring it out.
Their night's ruined.
Yeah, because it's just he knows he'll shut down the whole deck.
Yeah,
so it's kind of
like having multiple blank decks of the same theme at the desk at the table.
Yeah, but you're like, even if you're like we're like playing in public or something like that, you know, and we're playing against like people that we don't know and all that stuff. You're still like going to be like, okay, I don't want to be a jerk. I don't want to shut down their strategy. I don't want to shut down their whole deck idea. So I'm just going to play something else. I'll play like my foods or something like that.
But my Wednesday, my Elish Norn deck's a group hug deck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
everybody's so much land.
Yeah, you have a lot of the like scholarship of whatever that scholarship one is, where enters, you get a lot of things back. There's some cool stuff.
Yeah, wedding rings, stuff like that.
Oh,
I get it, but at the same time, like it like Daniel's saying, like a lot of cards, like land, like there's a lot of landfalls and everything, a lot of stuff. Like if this enters, do this, blah 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 blah. Like it shuts everything down. Like even if the deck is not based around ETBs, you still have like
it's passively
like 10-15%.
There is one other before we go. I do have, you guys, if you have other ones, you let me know. But I do have one other one that we just haven't touched on since then. Like this wasn't out when we did our last Scary Commanders one. This card, in every time I've ever seen it, has been annoying and outperformed, and it's Cosmos Serpent. It just, every part of it. It's 3 double green, double blue. So you've got again Simic goes silly. It's 6/6 at 7 mana, so a kind of more fair stats, I guess, but it can't be countered. Brutal. But then at the beginning of each upkeep, you get a 3/3 blue serpent named Coma's Coil. Each upkeep getting a 3/3 is just a like Tender Shoot Dryad in the command zone is strong. That would be really strong. And this is just 3/3s. And even if it stopped there, even if it couldn't be countered, and every turn you get a 3/3, that's already, like, by the time that it gets back to you, you have, what's that, 9 more. You've got 15 power on board for 7 mana. That's pretty good. But then they just stapled like this other silly, you sack another serpent, choose one, you tap target permanent, it's activated, but it can't be activated. That's obnoxious. That's brutal. It can be lands. You can, in the draw step, you can tap down a Gaia's Cradle and boohoo, even if you have an untap for it. Too bad. Like that's really, really annoying. And then the other one is that it just makes Coma indestructible. So removing Coma is nigh impossible.
Yeah, and you're in green-blue, so like you're expecting counter spells or heroic intervention, things like that, right?
Yeah, that short of pack and exile for the one turn that you're saying, I like you're saying on it, the shield's down. Short of that on the one turn, you're not going to get rid of Coma, and Coma's just going to continue to outperform the moment. And you're in green. You can ramp up to 7 mana pretty fast in green. Green's not known for being like, well, maybe if I get to 7 mana. This isn't 7 mana in mono white, people. Right? Like this is big boy stuff. It's pretty easy to crack that.
I wouldn't even see mono white anymore. I'd say like red. Mono white can get there pretty good.
Yeah, they've really given mono white a lot. Mono red does kind of suck. You don't see it very much except for like your Imidanes. Imidane's a cool commander, but
Krenko.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Krenko's still scary, but not as scary anymore compared to everything else.
There's a lot of just insane stuff that's come out. There's just some, again, like I said, there's no way that we could talk about the cards that are too problematic for, I could do a 7-hour episode on this and just talk about things I don't personally like seeing. But like a lot of these, like from...
It's like a stream idea.
Yeah, from everyone's like literally every part of the list that I've heard from people, like from both you guys, they've outperformed. There hasn't been something that I'm like, no, you know what, I really like that one. I'm like, no, I get it. Yeah, there's like I said, there's just there's some pretty silly cards in Magic right now. I love doing like the concept of like scary commanders. We haven't done it since I think like the first season, and and how scary some of the commanders are now. Like before, I'm sure like if I was to listen back to that episode, I'd be like Kalia because it can dump in dragons and stuff, and everyone's like,
I would love to see Kalia.
I think one of the original ones we did was like Corvard.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good one, I think too.
It's still a good one. Like when I see it, I get excited. I don't get like I'm scared of it still. Don't get me wrong, because it gets strong and gets because it's card draw plus it gets big.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when you see someone pull it out and it's not like you already talked saying like we're not playing a competitive, we're playing casual, and they bring it out, you're like, okay, what stupid jank do you have? I gotta see this. What stupid jank do you have planned for us?
It's in general, like I think there's a lot of like better conversations happening because I think people are so frustrated with like seeing annoying things come down a game. And I think a lot of people are getting more open with being like, hey, I don't really like that.
I think it's more down to experience now because we like I find I look at everything and I find everyone like either like beginner, like intermediate or like experienced.
Yeah.
Okay. And if most people that are beginner to intermediate, like beginners, they just don't know whatever. So everyone like sandbags like crazy and lets them play out and all that stuff, right? But intermediate is where like everyone's been the beginner. A lot of people are in the intermediate or have gone past intermediate. And you find that most people in that area tend to, once again, play combo.
Yep.
Right. And then you move away from combo because you're so bored that like when you're more experienced, you're like, okay, that has to die off the bat. All right, let's continue on with the game. Let's make it go longer. Okay, I'm going to sandbag. Wait. Okay, there's another combo piece. I'm going to get rid of that. And that's where you get all the scary cards because it's like once you see it, it's like, okay, we have to deal with this now because if we don't, the whole table is gone.
And the funny thing is there's players that go, why?
Yeah.
Why did you blow that up?
Yeah.
I had a bad experience.
It is really interesting, like what you said too, though, about like I have seen a lot during the pandemic, tons of new people picked up Magic, right? So I've seen over the last few years a lot of people kind of grow what they play and do, like become from total newbies who didn't understand like even like what was a permanent, what wasn't, right? To now like they are all at that middle ground where they're understanding the game and they're all packing their decks with combos. It's really funny that like that was so like just like hammer on the nail on that one, because it is fun. Like we've all been through like our combo phase, generally speaking, and if you haven't, you will. But but I do think, especially in Commander, like you said, it's more fun to prolong the game, like have like sillier interactions. I love to see what people's decks can do. I notoriously lose all the time because I just sit around it because I want to see how people can answer it.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you reach the point where you're just like, okay, I don't need a dock side in every deck, so I'm not even going to bother making a proxy for it. I'm just going to put it. I'm going to keep it sleeved. It's out of the way. I'm just going to put in something else. If like I'm not you guys know me. I play counter spells in every single color. Why? Because it's funny.
Getting hit with that white counterspell. Ooh.
Oh, which one? Like there's Lapse of Certainty.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Getting lapsed.
There's a tithe. There.
Getting mana tithe is just it's disrespectful to a different level. Because generally speaking, if I'm sitting across, you've got a white mana up or something like that. I'm like, all right, they have their swords, they have Path to Exile, they've got removal, but that's okay. I'll still cast my thing. It's going to be all right. I'm casting an enchantment. What are they going to do? They can't exile that. You know what I mean? If I'm just going silly, like I'm Finale of Glory, I'm 15 mana deep and you mana tithe me. Oh, buddy.
That's the thing. That's why I have things like Mage's Contest. Like everyone's like, oh, you should throw in Tybalt's Trickery for red instead, right? That works better. I'm like, but Mage's Contest, I'll bring it up where the person will lose 15 life just to keep their spell, and I'm like, okay, I'm done, and then I lightning bolt and they're dead. Like, who cares?
The thing that's fun about spells like that is it's stuff you don't see. Mage's Contest is a really cool card.
Yeah, it's interaction because you're interacting with someone, right? So you're giving people choices, stuff like that, and that's like all of us have gotten to that point where we like playing cards like that. We prefer playing cards like that. Where like I'm in blue and I don't throw in counter spells now just because it's so boring. You know, like the actual counter spell. I still have counter spells in the deck, but just not
raw counter spell. Yeah.
Yeah, just not the raw counter spell, right? I don't have Swan Song. I don't have Negate, you know? But I'll throw in something stupid like oh, good Lord. Like, there's so many counter spells. Like, it doesn't matter, like, you know? It's like, who cares? Like, even in black, it's like, okay, I'll put in Dash Hopes, right? So, Dash Hopes, actually, let me bring that up because I can barely remember that one myself. So, because I don't play it that often. But yeah, Dash Hopes. Okay, black, instant. Whenever you play Dash Hopes, any player may pay 5 life. If a player does counter Dash Hopes, and it just says counter target spell. So it's like Browbeat for red.
I love Browbeat. Oh, I love Browbeat so much.
Yeah. So Dash Hopes does the same thing. It's you give the person a choice. Okay, it's in black. It's a counter spell. You're like, hey, take 5 damage, or counter that spell, or have me counter that spell. You know, it's interaction as opposed to like just a regular counter spell. It's like, I just counter it. Okay, or I Dovin's Veto it. It's just not as much fun. So, but yeah, and that's how like you know like I that's how I determine if something's scary or not. It's just, you know, is it a combo piece now? Okay, does it overperform? If it does any of those two, yeah, it's scary. Let's get rid of it as soon as possible.
It's also been really fun to remove the stuff that is overperforming for my deck. I'm like I said, at a certain point you run out of cards. You run out of duels at a certain point. There's a limited supply of them in my collection. I don't know what to tell you. So building with like lower power things that don't have those overperforming, a lot of times kind of underperform. It's really fun that it kind of puts you in a better political position, a better spot to like chat with the table and stuff. It's been a lot more fun to tone it down and try and win through more politics and like better threat assessment, because at any point you can turn the heat back up, right? But knowing how to play like on more of a budget, like silly kind of way, it really does like increase what you do and know about the game, right? You have to pay a little more attention. You have to make better choices because you don't have just your deck's not packed with Force of Wills anymore, right? So now you've got to spend the resources for the counter spells, and that means you have to pay attention, like what is worth countering. So it's very fun to stop the overperforming. I get it. You know what I mean? I could have put Jeweled Lotus on this list. I don't think Jeweled Lotus is very healthy for the format either. It's just there's no downside to running it. It's good in every commander deck, short of budget. If Jeweled Lotus was a $1 card and was printed into like the tens of thousands, it would be in every deck just like a Soul Ring, and every deck would go way faster and it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah. Or the One Ring.
Oh, that we can't even end before that. That card sucks. That card needs to be, yeah. That card has, talk about overperforming. Protection from everything and insane draw. We've got 40 life. Life is a resource. No one cares. By the time like you've drawn like 10 or 11 cards from that, like, okay, boo-hoo.
Yeah, that's definitely a scary card. Like, it's so stupid.
I have one ring, and it's in my skip the turn deck because I have protection from everything till my next turn, and that's hilarious. If I just skip 30 turns and I have protection from everything for 30 turns, go off. You guys are good.
Sit here.
Yeah. The One Ring. Sometimes it's nice that price kind of keeps stuff out. That One Ring is pretty expensive. Jeweled Lotus is pretty expensive. I think those would have been more like prevalent on the list had they been like cheap cards, right? Like a lot of these that you can
pick see them more often.
Yeah. Like a Dranith, it's not cheap, but it's like $15-$20 kind of thing. That's playable. That's attainable for most people. Most people aren't adding $100 mana rock to their deck unless they really want to win. Good job. You have won Friday night. You win. You beat me. You are the king. You are the king of the gathering.
Did you gather them all?
Yeah, exactly. I say we end there. I think we got a good list. I do really want to know what people like think are like the scariest. I will.
What don't you like seeing? Get out there.
Yeah, I'll hit our music there. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Music, stuff. Always good. Like, share, subscribe. It really does matter. It helps out. Comment anywhere you can on Spotify. Now you can say what you think of decks. We can publish interactions. So that's been pretty fun to be going off. If you kind of want to support above and beyond that, because you all should be doing it. You all should like and share these things. But if you wanted to go above and beyond that, yeah, just we've got Patreon, a great spot to chat with other people who like to build decks, play things. You get the episodes early, you get gameplay early, you get to hear some of the things
live.
Yeah, right. Like
live listen.
Yeah, generally we have some people pop in. We're just recording at such a strange time. Recording at nighttime for once. I'm awake. This is wild. How can I be in bed and make everyone late? It doesn't work. Again, thanks so much for everyone who listens. Check out the website as well for all of our content in one place. There's great articles. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the gist of it.
Peace, guys.
Yeah.
Later.